You know what the number one mistake Americans make with their money? They don't freaking pay attention. You know why the rich get richer and the poor get poorer? Because the rich people keep doing rich people stuff. You know what rich people stuff is? They pay freaking attention. They learn about investments, they invest, they do a budget, they agree on spending with their spouse, and it keeps working, and they keep doing it over and over and over and over and over again.
You know, this is the reason why I stopped listening to Dave Ramsey already for a few years, because I feel like the man is completely out of touch, right? To me, you just have to keep it real. Keep it real. The rich are not getting rich because they're doing a budget, okay? But you cannot budget your way out of not having income. That's just not the way it works. If you're lacking in income, a budget is not going to save you, all right? And keep on cutting expenses is not going to save you. Yes, we all know what it is. You need to increase your income. We all know that. Some people out there, though, unfortunately, have jobs where they don't give them enough fair wages. So they need to work 2 or 3 jobs to get themselves out of the hole. That's the reality of the situation. I'm tired of all of this saying, hey, you know, this is what the rich people... No one cares what the rich people do. Okay, you want to know what the rich people do? They get tax cuts, all right? They get involved in politics. They vote for the party that's going to give them tax cuts. It's simple as that. Look all over YouTube. Look everywhere. All you're seeing is people talking about how I pay 0 taxes. Like the rich dad, poor dad, bragging about how he has so much debt and he pays no taxes. You know what I mean? That is the real issue here. Dave is just so out of touch. I stopped listening to him for a few years because I'm like, come on, man. You know, you just, rich people have conversations with their spouses and, you know, they don't pay attention to nothing. Isn't that the point of having all this money, right? We want to make so much money where we don't need to pay attention to the little things, right? To the price of eggs and to the price of gas. We want to just be able to say, this is what I want to do. I could afford it. I'm going to do it. There is no rich person on every Friday, once they get paid, they're doing, you know, a cash envelope. Right? Or any rich person that's out there and they're trying to see, like, you know, hey, let me budget this month for this. And come on, man. That's not the way it is. That's a way to get you out of the hole, right? Which is the one thing with Dave Ramsey I do agree with. The one little thing I agree with, which is paying off your debt, right? I agree with that. To budget, to stop, pause for a second, and pay attention to the landscape of your finances. Because there's so many people out there that get paid and they never, ever look at their checking account or never make a budget. They have so many subscriptions come out of their account that they thought they canceled, they never canceled. There's fees being charged in their account. There's so many things that are happening in people's accounts and they're completely blind by it, right? With that, I would agree with. You need to pay attention to where your money is going, especially when you're broke. It's even more important to pay attention to your money, especially when you're broke, because you don't want to go around spending, acting like everything is all good, having no idea where your money is going. Right? That is something you certainly need to do. With that, no argument. I agree with Dave. But this whole like blaming people like it's your fault because you don't do a budget and you don't pay attention and this is what the rich people do. Come on, cut this. Just cut that. I don't want to hear that nonsense because it's all bogus. It's just complete lies. It's not true whatsoever. And like I said, once again, this isn't a bash Dave Ramsey video because in my opinion, you know, you don't have to agree with what everyone says. And sometimes there's certain truths in the things that they say. But it's just the way he says it, it just irks me. And it just frustrates me because it feels like, I know he always gets accused of like poor people shaming and poor shaming. And I get a tinge of it. I don't think that's his intention. He has like the whole like wake up and smell the roses type vibe to it. And like a personal trainer like yelling at you type vibe to it. But just the whole like, saying that you need a budget, right, and pay attention, and come on, man, you're just out of touch with reality. Just call it what it is. The rich are getting richer, the wealth gap is expanding because rich people know exactly how to play the game, right, which is to get in line with the politicians that are going to give you the ability and the advantage to succeed financially and to not pay taxes whatsoever, right? And it's so ironic because you don't see him outraged about, man, you know what? The people that watch my show, they're struggling and they're trying to get ahead. And I'm here getting all these tax cuts. And I'm here hardly paying any taxes. Can't you just look at the fact that most of your callers are probably struggling so much financially, not just because of debt. Some people just because of survival. Like they just don't have the funds And they don't have these tax cuts and tax breaks that the rich people have. Oh my Lord, am I getting ranty? But yo, it's just annoying. Somebody gotta say it, right? It's just the acting like you could just out hustle your way out of things and just work your way out of things when you're there sitting, pretty, owning a business, having multi-million dollars, taking advantage of all these tax cuts. Come on, man. Come on, just call it what it is. There's a huge wealth gap right now in the United States, and it's getting wider and wider and wider, and it's getting harder and harder for people to get out of their financial situation. Just call it what it is. Don't lie to people. Don't sugarcoat it. Just call it what it is. You are lucky and you're fortunate to become rich, and once you're rich, you have all these opportunities where you get all these tax cuts and all these advantages you could take to hold on to your income, hold on to your wealth, where you're not paying so much to the government. Just call it what it is, right? There's a different game that the rich people play and the poor people play, right? When you're rich, it's all about strategizing to keep as much as you can and find advantages to not pay as much taxes. There's a whole different game, right? There's leveraging. You're taking money out for debt, right? But you don't consider it debt, you consider it leveraging, because the money that you could have used, rather than putting the money into whatever asset you're investing in, you could put it into a market to gain, some income and interest and capital gains, and it's doing great in the market. But then you have you have some assets like a home, rental properties that's giving you all this, passive, quote unquote, passive income. And now you're winning, right? You're writing stuff off. It's a whole different game from poor people. Poor people are not writing anything off. They're writing nothing off. Okay, the only thing that they're taking off is just some type of subscription from their account, man. That's like, oh, you know what? I gotta cut this off. Or I gotta cut my cable off. I gotta cut eating out off. Like, that's a difference, man. And there's a huge disconnect with the reality of the situation, right? It's a complete disconnect with the reality of the situation. And when I see videos like that, man, it just irks me. It just irks me like crazy, because they're tone deaf. You're supposed to be a financial channel, and most of your callers are calling in because they're struggling, they need help, and you're here saying, you gotta pay attention, and this is the reason why the poor keep on getting poorer, because they don't pay attention. No, they are paying attention. They're paying attention to what's going on, and they're seeing how unfair it is. It's completely unfair right now in America. It's just completely unfair. And until people just wake up and recognize that it's just unfair. It's unfair, and something needs to be done. This is just tilting completely. The gap is just widening so much. Middle class is like, hey, they're going down to the poor side of the spectrum rather than the rich side, because the gap is just getting so wide, and it's getting harder and harder to survive. It's getting harder and harder to survive. People don't know where to live. People are struggling with the rent. They're trying to buy a house, but they can't. The dreams are shattered. This whole American dream is just shattered for most people. So that's why it completely irks me when how out of touch these boomers are. These older people are. But they think things are just so easy, when it was easier for them because buying a house was 2 buttons and lint, right? And he acts like he never filed for bankruptcy. He filed for bankruptcy as well, so he should understand, it's hard out there. But instead, he just acts like, just pick yourself up and then just become rich by just doing these things. Nah, man. It's way more than that. It's way more than that. You have so many things going against you right now. It's just way more than that. It's bigger than just budgeting, and it's bigger than just paying attention. That's just my opinion. You guys let me know how you feel.